Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I am dealing with some kind of allergic reaction, so if my face looks like Forrest Whitaker, I am sorry for that. But yeah, I woke up this morning and I looked in the mirror because I felt really weird, and then I saw my face and literally my eyes were almost completely shut. I had hives all over my face, and then I saw it was also all over my body. I still have some hives, still have some rashes. My eye, my left eye at the very least, is still slightly closed. So once again, I am very sorry if my look scares you. Luckily, my face is in a much smaller window, so you shouldn't be able to see it as much. But I still wanted to cover this news today because it is indeed exactly what we all thought it was going to be. So the Captain Marvel early buzz, the early reviews have now come out, and the general consensus is this movie is awesome because of Whammon. That is right. This movie is already being defended in a wide variety of fronts, and I'll get to some of the other articles that are talking about how basically the fan anticipation is not nearly as much as they want it to be, and also too isn't really matching up to those early giant box office projection numbers that they're trying to put out there as well. And so we're of course over at slashfilm.com, and the only reason why I'm using this and not other sources, other sources, even though I've already called out Slashfilm in the past, they used to be one of the best places to go for breaking news, for stories, and then they really just became, especially after 2016, became very, very political. I remember that I used to actually listen to the Slashfilmcast, and it was usually a very good podcast, but then they decided to dedicate one episode entirely to politics, and they tried to defend it and say like, oh no, well, this is relevant and everything, and you can't tell us what we can talk about. However, it's called Slashfilmcast. It's supposed to be about the film industry, and ended up being nothing but Donald Trump. And so, obviously, we're going to see this kind of similar narrative being portrayed throughout all films as well, because Captain Marvel, as we've known for a while now, is protected. The media and all those present in the media are going to go out of their way to defend and to protect this film. They want this film to have the highest ratings possible. They want to give so much early buzz to this film because they know if they don't, no one, or at least a lot of people, aren't going to see it. This is the first time in MCU history that there's been this much backlash, that there has been this much just malaise for any MCU film, because people are already tired of Brie Larson. Never before in history have we had any character, male or female, being essentially despised in this way, and it's because of the hateful comments coming from Brie Larson. The fact that she has gone out of her way to say, oh, I don't care what white men have to say about our, what to say about my movie or other movies either. She has gone out of her way to do this, and so of course, if she or anyone else did not expect some kind of backlash for that, if anyone did not expect that there would be people saying, I don't want that to be a part of the MCU universe, and they are therefore speaking out saying, I have no interest in seeing this movie, no, you can't just say, oh, they're sexist, and oh, it's fake, and it's faux outrage. I'm sorry, but based on my comments, based on Twitter, based on so many other things, are there people excited to see Captain Marvel? Abso-freaking-lutely. I am not going to deny that fact at all. But are there also a crap ton of people who do not want to see this movie, who want to see this movie fail because of Brie Larson? You are damn right. And opening weekend will tell us a lot. It'll tell us just how much this outrage is, just how much this backlash is, and also, too, the week 1 to week 2 will tell us how much the film overall will make. I'm still in that 450 to 650, which, guess what, means that I think it's still going to be profitable. It only needs to make $400 million total worldwide in order to break even based off of its budget and based off of how much they're spending on marketing. However, if this kind of stuff keeps happening, especially now, we know how this happens, guys. It's one thing for Brie Larson to be at the center of all this. Now you have an entirely new level to it. We already knew the media were going to be on board. We already knew the media were going to protect this film, and they already have released articles saying as much. But now we actually have their early reviews. We have people who have actually seen the movie, and we see that they are indeed going out of their way to shill for this movie. There is not one negative review. I have not found one negative, one critical review of this movie. And it's amazing to me that they will do this, but then when it comes to like Alita Battle Angel, because it doesn't fit their narrative, they will go out of their way to just destroy it and try and say, oh, it's not good. But notice how Alita Battle Angel, we now have a fight between the audiences and the critics. The audiences are going out to support Alita Battle Angel in droves, much more so than they would have if the critics had not taken this kind of a stand at the same time as them defending Captain Marvel in this way. So I think you're going to see yourself almost the opposite reaction, just as there are so many people in the United States, all over the world, going out in droves for Alita Battle Angel, and I cannot wait to get those China and Japan numbers this weekend, because I think that is going to tell a very different story. I think that's when you're going to have your Slash Films and your comicbook.com and all of these shill sites going out of the way to say, oh, well, looks like that, it's not going to be a flop after all, or, oh, well, it's doing well, but it still needs to make this much to break even. Alita Battle Angels break-even number is $430 million. If it can reach that, it's already at $140 million, and it hasn't even opened in China, Japan, and other markets, then it's going to break even, and I really honestly am predicting it's going to make money. But let's get into these Captain Marvel early reviews, and you'll see they are so biased. They are so also pointed to focusing on certain aspects, and you see they almost are saying the exact same thing over and over again, and not one of them, at least from my experience, has one critical thing to say. So, Angie Jahan, who works for, or at least at one point in time worked for SlashFilm.com, says, well, Thanos is effed. Oh, great review there. Peter Scaretta, who's also working for SlashFilm, says, it's a great origin story. Bree's buddy cop chemistry with Samuel L. Jackson is so much fun, and a relationship with Lashana Lynch is the real heart of it. Ben Mendelsohn and Kat both steal the show. Great to hear about Ben Mendelsohn. Once again, Goose the Cat is our hero. Goose the Cat is the reason why anyone might still go to see this movie, or at least buy a ticket to something else and sneak in, because they want to see just how awesome and amazing Goose the Cat is. But it's still fantastic that they are saying, oh, Bree is, doing great. She's got great chemistry and everything like that. We're going to focus on these parts, and we're not going to be critical whatsoever. He continues, Marvel does a prequel right, not over-explaining too much, but giving us unexpected answers in interesting ways. MCU's most multi-layered villain story, a fun 90s soundtrack, but sometimes the song choices feel too obvious. Okay, so that's the one critique, is the soundtrack. Nothing about Brie Larson, nothing about the acting, nothing about the story. Oh no, it's the most multi-layered villain story. Okay, if you're gonna tell me that this villain is better than Thanos, I'm going to call you out as a liar. Now, is it possible? Is it possible that this villain is better? It is. However, until Thanos, we really hadn't had a really good multi-layered villain. We've had a couple that have almost reached those points. I think, Loki would be up in that category, but I think Loki was used a little bit too much and went back and forth too much. And it's not Tom Hiddleston's fault. I think it's the writers overall not really knowing what to do with him. So to say that this is the best villain ever, he's saying the most multi-layered villain story ever, I think is a little bit, is selling out a little bit too much. Anna Klassen says, Captain Marvel opens with a very touching Stan Lee tribute the fans will love. So once again, here we have the media saying, guys, go see this because in the very beginning, you will see a Stan Lee tribute. Yeah, they're leaking that for a certain reason. They are talking about that for a very specific reason. They are mentioning that in droves because they know that Brie Larson's not going to sell tickets to this movie. The story of Captain Marvel is not going to sell tickets to this movie, but you know what might? Stan Lee, because at the end of the day, most comic book fans and MCU fans freaking love Stan Lee and love all the cameos that he's done throughout hand. And then it says, there's an earnestness to Captain Marvel that feels different than other MCU films. Oh, it feels different? I got chills watching Carol Danvers get back up over and over and over again. Oh, just like in the trailer, right? Thanks. Oh, great review, Anna. Very, very great review right there. Oh, not shilling at all. Eric Eisenberg, Captain Marvel is a blast. Has some cool surprises that I definitely didn't see coming. And the mystery origin it weaves is engaging and fun. Brie Larson is awesome and makes a fantastic first step into the MCU. Of course, we got to protect Brie Larson. We have to say that she's not a piece of wood. She's not just a block of wood acting. No, she is awesome. She owns that role. Goose the Cat might be better, but she owns that role. Oh, and yes, Goose is a brilliant stand still. Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that Goose is getting a lot of love here. They did it. That was my girl, says Amy Dallin. That was my girl. Hashtag higher, further, faster, baby. So, we're starting to see a trend here. We're starting to see some of these dots being connected. Eric Davis has a great 90s sci-fi vibe with a tone unlike any other Marvel film, really. It's retro and trippy, mysterious and dorky. It's funny in surprising places and badass in all the right places. It remains entertaining because it's always changing. It's got the right stuff. So basically what you're telling me is that this movie has multi-personality disorder. And last time I checked, movies that don't know what they are, movies that are constantly going in between genres, usually don't end up well. Can some people maybe do that well? Can some people maybe, be able to write that kind of a story and do it well and present it well on screen? Sure. We've had movies that have done that before, but you're telling me that two pretty much unknown people who came up together and to write and direct this film are going to be able to do that with Brie Larson, who is on top of everything else being very political? Yeah. We'll see. Eric Davis says, love the cat, of course, Sam Jackson, and love Ben Mendelsohn. But honestly, I'm calling Lashana Lynch as MVP. She brings an emotional weight to the film that is needed and transforms the entire movie upon arrival. Definitely need to see more of her. If anyone doesn't know who that is, it's the character standing right next to Brie Larson's character in this movie. Isn't that interesting? Markea McCarthy says, yas, wow, do dudes feel this good after action movies all the time? Do dudes feel this good? Yes, that's right, because I like a movie and feel good about a movie because I identify with the white man on screen, and that's the reason why I like it. Said almost no white man ever. Any person that comes out of a movie excited, of all colors, of all backgrounds, of all genders, like it because the movie and the characters are good. Try telling that to some of the people part of the Phantom Menace. Going up to people like, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Abu Nas. Go check out Abu Nas's channel. He's an awesome dude. But if you were to go up to him, McCarty, if you were to go up to him and say, oh man, didn't Black Panther make you feel so awesome? Is this what white people must feel like after seeing a movie? I guarantee you Abu Nas would come out and say, shut the hell up. I feel awesome after seeing almost every single one of these movies, because that does not matter. As I've said constantly before, if you define yourself, if the entire core of your existence is based off of your race, off of your gender, and you take that one tiny puzzle piece of your identity and you make it the entire whole, you're going to isolate yourself from everyone around you, and also you're going to make yourself look like an asshat in the process. So McCarty, good job on that. Drew Taylor, really love Captain Marvel. It's a little wobbly at times. Oh my gosh, criticism. Oh, I bet he was hated. It's like, oh, you're just a white male. Is he a white male? I can't tell. He's a little bit dark in that photo because, he doesn't got the lights on him. So who knows at this point? But only because it's so ambitious. So it's wobbly, but let me excuse it. It's wobbly, but it's ambitious. And so that's why it's a good thing. It's beautifully constructed, hilarious, and offers tons of surprises. Brie Larson obviously rules, but Ben Mendelsohn is the surprise MVP. Captain Marvel, says Devin, is pure joy. I cannot wait for the generation of little girls who will grow up with Carol Danvers as a hero. I think this one says everything that we need to know about this movie. I cannot wait for the generation of little girls who will grow up with Carol Danvers as a hero. I am worried for the generation that thinks that this is a hero. I am concerned for the generation that thinks that Brie Larson and the things that she's saying and the hateful things that she's saying is what a hero is. I'm concerned that people are being taught that, oh, if a white man is being critical of a film, it can only be because they are a racist, or it can only be because they are a sexist. No. The reason why I'm concerned is because I'm tired of Hollywood. I'm tired of the media trying to inject politics into every single damn thing. You want to know a couple films that didn't do that? Wonder Woman, for one, did not inject identity politics into it, and guess what? It did very, very well. But we don't want to talk about Wonder Woman, right? No. We don't want to talk about that, and I'll get back to Wonder Woman in a second. You have that on one hand, Wonder Woman, but then also, too, you have Alita Battle Angel, which, again, has such love from it. Most people, 95% of people that I've talked to, have had a huge love for that film. Huge love. But it's interesting that only the Medialites, only the people in the media are going to be the ones really coming away strong for love of this film. And I'll read one more. Stephen Weintraub says, Captain Marvel is a welcome addition to the MCU. The movie really has done well with some great moments. Ben Mendelsohn steals almost every scene he's in. Brie Larson literally shines in the row, so ready for Avengers Endgame. So, as we see, it's all about the women. It's all about protecting the film. It's all about trying to get the buzz so high that it's able to offset the mass amount of people, the thousands of people. No, that is not hyperbole. It's definitely going to be thousands of people who are going to sit this movie out, who would have seen this movie otherwise because of Brie Larson, and now because of this. Because I mentioned before, now it's not even just Brie Larson and people wanting to reject her. Now it is the audience saying, screw you, critics. We now see your game. We now know, after seeing Alita Battle Angel and the way that you treated that film and the way that you said, oh, it over-sexualized her, and oh, well, it's not the real whammon hero that we want, but Captain Marvel is. The way that we've seen that and the way that we've been following those stories, we now know that we can barely trust anything that you have to say whenever there is a movie that has any even inkling of political motivation. Because you show your cards. You have shown your hand. We know it. And notice how, with Alita Battle Angel, so much hate from critics, and yet audiences are going out in droves and droves, and that's why that film is indeed going to be profitable, in spite of all of the negative reviews, in spite of the critics. So not only are people going to skip this movie in spite of Brie Larson, but now, even more so, even more powerful, you have another critic-audience split. Even before the movie has come out, you have created a split by shilling it up nonstop. You want to know what would have been a best instant reaction? Saying, oh man, there were some parts I really liked. However, there are certain parts that I think are not living up to the expectation. Because based on all of these things that we just read, this movie spells perfection. This movie is the greatest movie ever to be made. This is the most fun, the best MCU film of all time. And when you dig further into it, you realize it's because, oh, well, Brie Larson's in it. Oh, it's the first MCU film being led by a female. We always have to be able to scrape our way through the BS in order to find what is true. What is true is this. And man, I cannot wait to read the articles. So this was the last time. This was about 5 minutes ago, last time I updated this page. And this says right here that only 59% of audiences want to see this film. Now, I know there's tons of people. That's with 10,000 users saying, 10,000 people saying, I do not want to see this film. I am not interested in seeing this film. And what do you hear from the media? What do you hear by this? Not, oh, could it be in trouble? Not actually being a media presence and saying, oh, could Captain Marvel maybe not do as well as it should? Hey, here are my thoughts on it, but hey, it looks like the audiences really are not really feeling this. Would they say that? Of course they would. Instead, it would be like, Captain Marvel isn't even out yet, and unreasonable men are already mad on Rotten Tomatoes. Unreasonable men. I love how you point out that it's all unreasonable men, even though I can give you plenty examples of women, my own Valkyrie being two of them, that have no interest in seeing this movie. No interest whatsoever. So I love how you're sexist in your reporting here, saying it's only unreasonable men, and not just men too, that they're unreasonable. So what you're saying is that no person, especially a white man, can be critical of this film, cannot be interested in this film without being sexist, without being racist. Do you even hear yourselves? Do you even realize just how stupid that sounds? That you say that a person who is white and male cannot have an opinion on a character that is not male or is not white, and that opinion cannot be valid? Are you absolutely kidding me here? And I love how it's saying the movie isn't even out yet, and the comments on Rotten Tomatoes are just roasting the movie and the actress calling her sexist and racist. Well, she is indeed showing herself to be a sexist and a racist by calling out white men. If she was in another movie and she was saying, oh, I don't care about what a black woman has to say about my movie, guarantee you would be covering it. Guarantee you'd be tearing that film apart. Guarantee you that movie would be slaughtered at the critic ratings because of that reason. Because that's what you care about. Because you don't care about how objectively speaking a film is. That's what the critics used to be. The critics are supposed to be the objective standard. They're the people that studied film. They're the ones that spent years of their life. Again, I went through this program too in my undergrad. Studying film, learning how to talk about film. That is what they are meant to be there for. Not to ingest and to put in their political motivations and political agenda. Or at the very least, if you're going to do that, be honest about it. Don't try and act like, oh, I'm just some, unbiased critic, and so therefore take everything I say as fact. Don't go after saying, oh, it's fake reviewers. Fake reviewers have been trolling Brie Larson's performance in Captain Marvel. Yes, they're fake. How in the hell do you know that this is fake? And how in the hell are you saying, oh man, they're all men, they're all trolls, and they're all going to just attack this film because there's a female lead? Okay, so let's just go based on that premise. You're saying that this film is being attacked because there is a woman in the lead. You are saying this because there is a female character. Oh, wait a minute. What do we have here? We have Wonder Woman, 93% from critics, 88% of audiences. Of 126,000 reviews, 88% of audiences like this film with a 4.3 out of 5. And yet you're the ones that are going to say, oh my gosh, it's obviously fake reviewers. Oh, it's obviously just a bunch of unreasonable men who are sexist and racist that are the ones saying that they have no interest in seeing this movie. No one in their right mind is saying that this is the end-all be-all. No one is saying that this means that only 59% of all of humanity is going to see this film. What this means is that there is definitely a large group of people, men and women of various backgrounds, who do not want to see this film, who do not want to support Brie Larson, who do not want to support the nonsense that she's putting out there, and now, even more so than ever, do not want to support the critics who are going to spin this story, spin this movie, until they're blue in the face to try and say this is the best thing ever. This is the most important film ever, and the only reason why? Because she's a woke feminist playing a character. They didn't have that with Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot has shown herself to not be a feminazi. She is a true feminist. She understands what feminism is supposed to be. Equal opportunity, equal rights. She's supportive of that. Every time that they try to get her to really jump on that train, she just says, okay, I don't really understand what you're trying to say here. There's a really interesting interview where her and another one of her cast members, her cast member is trying to essentially get her to talk about, identity politics and trying to get her involved. And she's just saying no. And she just keeps rejecting him. And it's so awkward because he is all on that board. He is all aboard that train. Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, trying to get her, to come out and to say all these things. And guess what? She doesn't. And it's such an amazing interview because it really does show you what's going on. You have these crazy people on one side saying, you have to love it, you have to love it, you have to love it, you have to talk about your gender all the time, no stop, can't stop, won't stop, do. Like, seriously. That's what we have going on here. So now it's no longer just, oh, Brie Larson is the problem. That is, of course, still present. And you're going to have a bunch of people stay at home, skip this one, or buy a ticket to something else and see it just because they don't want to give this movie any money. You're going to have people do that because it's Brie Larson. But now, even more so, you're going to have people go out of their way because the media continue to paint us as something that we are not, continue to cover for this film, continue to shill all over this film, and I guarantee you, when that tomato meter comes out, it's going to be over 93% because this movie right here, Captain Marvel, must be the highest rated female-led film of all time because they've already told us as much. If these are the early buzz reviews coming out, and every single one of them has something positive to say, and every single one of them is non-critical, and every single one of them is talking about Brie Larson, and using certain types of languages that, that very much indicate they're protecting this film because of her, we know everything that it is that we need to know. So when I look at that 59%, I freaking believe it. I honestly believe there is a large portion of people, of moviegoers, who are going to sit this one out. So thank you, Rotten Tomatoes. Thank you, all of these shill media sites calling us fake, calling us toxic man, calling us sexist because we don't like Brie Larson and we don't want to support her movie because she herself has made some very stupid comments and has politicized this movie up the wazoo. But before you call any of us sexist or racist, why is it then that we supported an Israeli woman? An Israeli woman. Someone who many of your friends on the left go after because she is simply Israeli and she is proud of her country. But let's not talk about that. But even that film, because it focused on the story and on the character, made bank. Made over $800 million at the box office. You know what? This might have a higher rating at the end of the day. This one might have a 95+%, but I'm going to tell you one thing right now, guaranteed 100% true. This movie, Captain Marvel, will not make any more money than Wonder Woman did at the box office because now you have a large group of people who are going to sit this one out. And it's not because they're racist. It's not because they're sexist. It's not because they're a bunch of white man babies. Or in the case of John Campea, it's not like they're a bunch of basement-dwelling, cousin-humping F-twits. His words, not mine. You have just laid out the groundwork. You have just laid out everything that we need to give us every reason possible to not see this movie. And when this movie comes out and we get those opening weekend numbers and we get the movie, the numbers that come out after that, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the excuses that you try and pull out of your ass. And I cannot wait to see how you very well will say, oh, a bunch of racists and sexists drove down the score, spread their hate, spread their lies, this toxic YouTube community. They're the reasons why the film didn't do well. Not because of the film, not because of the character, not because of the comic it's based off of. And I can't wait for that day to come. But anyway, guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Seriously, this is amazing to me. Let me go ahead and just refresh this for you guys. So sometimes you need to actually double refresh in order to get the actual numbers. So again, over 10,000 people have said that out of 10,000 people who've put their reviews, 59% have said that that they're interested in this. But that means that a crap ton of people, again, 41% of people have no interest in seeing this movie. That is not a good thing for this movie going forward. Whenever this number has been down, it normally leads to a bad situation at the box office overall, especially when you have people calling them racist and sexist and fake, when in reality you see just right here that with 126,000 overwhelmingly love this film. And also, of course, when you have these knuckleheads right here, these total and complete asshats going out of the way to support this film. I would love to hear your thoughts about all of this in the comments below. If you like this video, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. You're all amazing and beautiful people. And once again, if I'm looking weird, it's because of the fact that I am indeed swollen. I'm having some kind of allergic reaction, and hopefully the Benadryl will kick in. I've taken 4 Benadryl today, and it's been slowly going down. So hopefully that happens soon completely. But seriously, this is just an amazing thing to me. These early reviews have come out. They're overwhelmingly positive, and it's all because of the Whammon. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and as always, God bless.